Hello everyone, my name is Andy Bones TV and welcome to my first ever completely beginner's guide to Valorant or any first person shooter. Starting us off at tip number 1 is making sure you guys walk and not run in certain scenarios. The reason I say certain scenarios is people like to run around the map a lot. It's faster, it's easier to get to bomb sites and be able to plant. However, footsteps can be heard anywhere. So I'm going to quickly zoom in on the minimap while I run, and you should be able to see a circle appear around me. Now as you can see, I am running back and forth on long, but if a defender is sat in hookah, they will be able to hear me running up and down long to be able to make a call to their teammate on site that someone is coming long. This is what the circle on the map represents. It shows whereabouts your footsteps can be heard on the map and is a really useful feature for you guys to get to understand. Now, if you want to be careful, you can walk up long, and such as me playing Phoenix, I can then get to this position, toss a flash in, you know, clear the angles and make my way onto the site and hopefully plant the spike. So walking gives you lots of advantages to be able to get onto the site without making too much noise. Now, there is some instances where you may need to run. As an example, say we are fighting over on a site with someone, we have 20 seconds left in the round and my teammates managed to get onto a site. This is the one time you would probably want to think, okay, let's switch to our knives and run to a site, because switching to your knife makes you run faster than if you're holding your primary weapon out. And another quick tip is when planting the spike, the last weapon you have is the one that gets pulled out. So when you go to plant a spike, make sure to pull your gun out and then plant the spike in order to keep yourself ready for a gunfight. Tip number 2. While you are playing Valorant or any other shooter, you need to keep in mind that running and shooting is not as effective as some games like Call of Duty. While standing still and shooting, the bullets are very accurate compared to if you are running and shooting, and that's just me going left to right. So if you want to practice effectively, you want to while moving, you want to press the opposite direction when you want to start shooting. So you press A, then you press D, and as you stop, that's when you want to start shooting. Otherwise, your bullets will go all over the place. Tip number 3. Knowing when to save and when to buy. So while playing Valorant over the past few days, I have noticed certain traits from people that clearly haven't played FPSs. It's the second they have enough money, they will buy light shield, heavy shield, and an SMG. When they have sort of like 2,000 credits, which is normally what you get after losing the first round. This is not okay. In order to win Valorant as well as Counter-Strike, you need to have a good economy. So the 4 different types of rounds I'm going to talk to you are save rounds, full buy rounds, force buy rounds, and partial buy rounds. So going over the basic, a save round. After losing pistol, you are more than likely going to want to save. This means no one on your team buys unless someone got a lot of kills, in which case they may buy a ghost or a sheriff for that one-shot headshot. However, everyone needs to ideally have more than 2,000 to 1.9 thousand credits left for the next round. And this is so that you can buy a weapon the next round as well as armor. The next round we're going to talk about is full buy rounds. This is where everyone on your team will buy a rifle, armor, abilities, or snipers. This is the full buy. You know, you buy your heavy armor, your rifle of choice, your sniper, as well as any ability you want. Now, a force buy round. This is where you have sort of 3 to 4k credits, and it's just not enough for something like heavy armor as well as a rifle. So me personally, I will either sacrifice some shield and buy a rifle, or I will sacrifice one of these rifles and get a bulldog. Now, I actually quite like the bulldog. It still has very good 4-round sort of bursts. You can keep it right on someone, or if you know how to spray, you can spray all the way into them. So it's very effective, and it does have a very nice 3-round burst. But this is just a personal preference, is I will sacrifice either a rifle for a lesser rifle, or I will do light shields and something like a phantom, because especially if I have ult as Phoenix, having less shield is not necessarily a bad thing, because I can lose my shield, lose a lot of health, go to a spot, use my ult, get information, get some kills onto site, come back full health and be okay. So this is something to consider when on a force buy round, is what do you really want? Do you want an SMG, a shotgun? Can be quite useful on defense. You know, pistols, martial. The next and final round we will talk about is partial buy rounds. This means that 1 or 2 of your members on your team can buy a weapon, but everyone else should be sure that they have enough credits for the next round. So as an example, say I have a ridiculous amount of money, I can buy some heavy shield and a phantom, and someone else on my team will as well. So we have 2 rifles, we will go in, you know, go and do our thing, either die or succeed. If we die, weapon gets dropped, our team can come in and pick up and potentially help us out and try and win the round. One key thing I need to mention before moving on is that I'm saving. I have no teammates, so I can't make this call. However, this is a great way to communicate with your team that you can buy, save, or buy them a weapon just by tapping this, and it will say it in the game for everyone, so everyone knows what the plan is, and it's really useful. Tip number 4 is armor. You must always prioritize armor. I know it's exciting to be able to afford a phantom, but if you cannot buy armor, you should not be buying or swapping the rifle for a lesser gun in order to keep your shield. You need armor to ensure you're not getting 1 or 2 shot by any weapon. Light shield gives you 25, which is good for pistol rounds. Maybe some people like myself tend to buy a pistol and ability on pistol rounds, but that's just my personal preference. But for the rest of the game, armor takes priority. So you can either go for light shield, or if you can, you must always take heavy shield. In my opinion, heavy shield is the number 1 item you should be buying, because this gives you an extra 50 health, and the armor, both types of armor, absorb 70% of damage taken. So it's a really useful tool to be able to keep yourself alive in certain scenarios. Tip number 5 is ensuring you always keep your reticle at head height, because a lot of people in shooters tend to aim at the feet, so when they want to hit someone, they flick up and can sometimes result in, such as myself, flicking too far above. So this is why you want to come to the shooting range and be able to mess around with sensitivities to try and make sure you get that sweet spot on head height. A good tip to make sure you are always focused on head height is at the start of a round, aim at your teammate's head so you have a good starting point for where your crosshair should be. So guys, thank you so much for watching my beginner's guide to Valorant. I know this is a very basic guide for people that have maybe not played Counter-Strike before, and it is very simple. However, I am hoping these tips will be able to help some of you in getting your first wins, getting your kills, and just in general wanting to improve at the game. So if you want to see more tips, tricks and tutorials from me, please be sure to subscribe, turn the notifications on, and I shall see you all in the next video. Peace.